All right, how is everyone doing? This is me, Dash, and I got one of my buddies, Akaash. I know this dude for over 80 years, and he's been one of the people that helped me have this whole consciousness, awareness, and has been a solid buddy since the day I met him. Always cool to hang out with you, bro, and like we do a lot of cool shit together. We're going to speak about some today, but it's been pretty exciting, and it's very interesting to have him in my life. As one of the people that is like very, very random pathways that you meet through life. And again, from the limit of kindness that you see from people, the unexpected love, is that why I want to share with a lot of people, you know, how we can reach this, not letting the situations or like how we go through life in general. No introduction, Akaash on Instagram, Akaash Aesthetic Guys. How you doing, brother?
Hey, brother. Thanks for the warm intro, bro. I love you, brother. I love you, brother.
Man. You're always welcome here, man. Of course.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, thank you.
How you doing, man?
Good, man. Good. Chilling and hanging out and kicking it, talking about consciousness expanding topics. So,
exactly.
You know, what better thing to do?
And let everyone know, like, what is your expertise? What
yeah.
You do, so
I'm a coach, performance coach, consultant. My background is in bodybuilding, biohacking, business building. I've invested in some real estate, had some supplement companies. Been a little bit of a serial entrepreneur, but my main focus and background has always been coaching and consulting in some way, shape, or form or capacity. I've done everything from training average Joes to lose weight, to working with certain minor celebrities and how to lose weight, professional athletes, getting them more in shape, to even businessmen and businesswomen that are trying to optimize their life, like prioritize their energy, their gut function, just overall perform better in whatever said industry they're doing. But yeah, some people have called me a life coach before, but I think of myself more as an advisor. Advisor to people.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I mean, it's coming from so many different angles and experiences, and some people it doesn't matter with age, is whatever they go through, that they can actually have a deep insight to you more than the people you actually pay for. Because there's a lot of like people really don't know what they're talking about, and it's so rare in between that you find some people who's actually doing what they practice, and this dude is one of them. I'm a true attest to his like generosity and greatness, and he got me better and on the same track as him too. So from speaking from that perspective, you always had to come from the level of knowledge to share it with other people, or like you're more generous with your knowledge with other way, shape, or form. You think your best action is in service, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I think that God put us on this planet, or a higher power, the universe, whatever you believe in, to be of service and be a contribution and be a net positive to life and life as a whole. So yeah, absolutely, being of service.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, that's like it's the highest reward for you when you're actually able to do service, to other human beings, to conscious, to the whole part of you in general that we're trying to talk about. So, brother, I've known you for almost like a decade right now. How did you break out of the matrix?
How did I break out of the
matrix? Because
a
lot of people are going to be listening to this, are going to be super excited about it. How did you figure out to follow your passion and to do what you love?
I would say desperation is the first thing that happened. I was really desperate. I was going to community college. I barely graduated high school. I was bodybuilding at the time. I didn't have really much of anything else going for me. I just knew that school wasn't going to be going for me, and it wasn't going for me. So, long story short, I ended up finding a mentor. His name, I'll leave his name out of it, but he was the CEO of a up-and-coming supplement company. Supplement company that was just on the ground level. But he was already an accomplished lawyer, had a background in business. I ended up stumbling upon him at the gym, and he had his assistant with him. I was like, this is interesting. This is a different look for me. I was always one that was, had an eye out for like affluence and people that were living the higher end lifestyle. Okay. Because I wanted that, right? I mean, that's the whole reason I wanted to go to school in the first place, to have some stability, have a job. But then, not to digress, but the numbers just weren't working out for me. I'm like, okay, how do I buy a Lambo again? Like, how does this work? Do I become a doctor, not pay any bills or save all my money for 2-3 years, my entire salary to buy a Lambo? Is that what I do? This is my serious thought process. But anyway, back to how I broke out of the Matrix. I ended up seeing this guy, and I was like, wow, I want to have a lifestyle that he has. Let me befriend him. Let me talk to him. Not like manipulate or use, just genuine, like, you know, just like, hey, how's it going? I like what you got going on. What are these supplements? I saw him making videos in the gym, talking about stuff like, wow, you put this on YouTube? I'm like, this is really cool. You know? And we just became friends. And then, so eventually one thing led to another, and then he had invited me back to his house it was like workout, shoot some video, review stuff, and kind of show me what's going on. Like, it was very direct. I just expressed interest. I'm like, I'm trying to learn more about what you're doing. I think this is really cool.
Oh, you were very direct.
Very direct. You know, most people that are affluent, I want to say most people, but in my experience, I'll say, people are very open to helping someone who is wanting to help themselves.
Yeah.
If you're down to help yourself, most people respect that because they wouldn't be where they're at if they didn't, you know, ask the question, you know, put their hand out. If you don't ask the question, the answer is always going to be no, right? So that's really when I was introduced to his lifestyle. And, you know, do that a Ferrari in the garage gym, right? In the garage gym, and then the Ferrari right parked at the side.
How many
2
Bugattis?
Yeah, one at a time. A couple of them really sick ass Benz, and a couple other normal cars. Okay. Big house on the river.
Nice.
I'm all like, what's going on here?
How can it be like that?
You know, I would see his rate of productivity. He's always on the phone, had assistants doing things for him, growing the company. You know, I just was, you know, to use the Andrew Tate word, perspicacious, very perceptive and aware of what's going on. And I'm like, this is something I need to model. This is something I should adopt in my life, these behavioral patterns and ways of thinking, to produce similar results. I just really, that made a lot of sense to me at a young age.
Yeah, well, you're lucky in it, in that way.
I was aware.
Yeah.
I had a higher consciousness, you could say. Older soul. That's what they call people that have older souls.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's how I broke out of the Matrix, is modeling behavioral successful people. And then I ended up using these character traits that I adopted, and just business strategy, as well as the belief that I could accomplish it because I was in the presence of someone that was accomplishing it.
Okay.
Grew a fitness coaching business. That was actually what my business was. I grew an online fitness coaching business, training a lot of people over the internet, and was able to scale that, a couple $100,000, multiple 6 figures. Definitely, you know, 20, 30, almost 40K months. So at that point, you know, you can kind of travel anywhere. You can pay for food at any restaurant. You can eat out. You can eat out every day. If you need to get a hotel room, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know.
You finally had a taste of that freedom you were looking for.
Yeah, even after $10,000 a month, shit.
Yeah.
After $10,000 a month, you know what I mean? After $10,000 a month, it was So that was the first. That was my first taste of being outside the Matrix. Okay. Obviously, a lot happened since then. There's a lot more to life than just escaping the Matrix. But to answer your question, that's how I escaped the Matrix.
That's how he escaped the Matrix. Yeah. So it took him following his passion and going after modeling that I don't need to do the normal rhetoric thing that people end up being miserable, majority of them, following the school pattern and like working in a job and doing that stuff, by finding someone that he likes to be like, and he take these behavioral and mostly like what you're talking about, I think it's attitude, because I don't think anybody want to learn someone who think they know it all. So the part that most people approach maybe the right situation or the right opportunity the wrong way, and I knew that because of like the Hermetic principle, all life is mental. Like everything happens inside your head first, before, and then it reflects on the outside. So that means if I'm thinking I'm not worthy enough, I'm like a piece of shit, this is not me, this is not who I am, or I would never be able to reach this, or like there is a mental block that I'm putting for myself, that I need to work so fucking much for so fucking long to be able to reach the same success that he did. But it's not. That's all restrictions and conditioning and stuff that we've been told, and none of it is true, and we live by it as it is true, ruining our lives by just following blindly what the people before us did, what our parents told us to do, how the society is majority is going, while the most society is like increasing suicide, depression, anger, hate. You know, it hasn't been peaceful lately inside people's heads, and that's where this is coming from. For him, he was lucky to trust himself, and that's something I learned a lot older than Akaash. And I think me and him, he combined that perspective of like the guy who already been there, the place I wanted to be, like he was saying, and the way he walked it himself is much more relatable to me than this other guy that you met, for example, you know? So for someone that you know for so long, and you see this transformation in them, that automatically gave to me like a self-reflection, is like, what is missing in my head? You know, what is the concept that I was missing? Yeah, even like, he was always been a super chill dude and cool dude to be around. And I would ask him, because like, how do you actually have that peace of mind all the time? Remember?
Yep.
And he like, that's the thing. And because whatever he was trying to explain to me, I wouldn't listen or understand, or wouldn't be a place where I would listen and understand, because I wasn't able, my cup wasn't empty yet. My cup, I wasn't reached that ego. I didn't break the ego to listen to someone in my conditioning, younger than me, have a different perspective, different background. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, totally.
Because there is like, have to be a hierarchy for someone to tell me, because that's what I'm used to my whole life. You see what I'm talking about?
Right.
So with him doing that, and then like me doing my thing, and apparently like, you know, finding out misery as most people who do the same thing and not really following their passion, him being that and him taking that first step, it's not only that is like infectious to everybody around you, it is just giving the same thought and pattern regardless, because you're in that vibration, you know. So anybody who's around you has to experience that vibration in one way or another.
Yeah.
You know, so for you to reach that enlightenment or joy or love vibration, and to be able to be in that most of the time, then that raised that, even if we can feel that a little bit when we're together, but then when we're like on our separate way, and like your basic state was like so down, your basic state is so down, then it was like, how can I reach that? What concepts in my mind I had to fix to reach that? So for me, how was your journey to the consciousness and to the awareness? And like for everyone, I mean like, I will tell you my journey after that, but I'm more interested in knowing the journey. I mean, I know a few steps, but I don't know the real journey for you, you know.
The journey of consciousness. So I'm assuming you mean the awareness of oneself, when you get to know
because
that there's a higher intelligence that's animating and, you know, observing your thoughts, so to speak.
Correct. Collective consciousness, yeah.
I was introduced to it by friends, family. My little brother was talking about it at a very, you know, rudimentary level. Of course, I didn't listen much to him at the time. He planted the idea, but I mean, he was young.
Really?
He planted the idea of he would say things, you know, that they struck a chord in me, but at the same point, I wasn't all the way sold on it. I was very much in the matrix as far as how to make money. Be very, you know, I was very in the material world. But what ended up happening was other friends around me were, you know, talking about like mushrooms and expansion of consciousness, meditation and whatnot. And then I actually ended up taking a dose of LSD, right? And this is when I was in the middle of my fitness coaching business and whatnot. I'd experienced some, you know, good financial wealth and things of that matter. And that really broke a lot of my paradigms that the modern world, the matrix world, is built upon. It broke a lot of my paradigms, taking the LSD. So what ended up happening is I started questioning everything, questioning all my beliefs, questioning, you know, like what school's there for, why do we go to school, what occupations are there for, like the credit card system, like, who controls this and why, like how the world is really built and how it works and like why. I started questioning everything. And then that was the start. That was like the catalyst for my spiritual journey, is taking the LSD. So that's how I started.
What did you see on that LSD journey?
The way I would describe it is it's an alternate reality at which your prefrontal cortex, your thinking mind, is a little bit shut down to a degree, to the point where, I'll give an example. I'll speak on it like this. If you have glasses that filter reality and your beliefs are the filter,
it affects the visual.
Right, like hypothetically, you would take these glasses and these filters off and see things for what they are for the first time. I'm walking down the neighborhood street, I'm observing houses, I'm seeing a lawn cut into little, rectangles, the house built in a certain way, the roofing structure, and the plumbing, the irrigation, all the stuff done a certain way. I'm just like, wow, I'm just acknowledging the man-madeness that I was able to see in the world. So that was, really eye-opening.
The eye-opening connection to it.
Yeah, and that's what, started cascading into, different plant medicines, higher levels of meditation.
Also, I don't want to cut you, but
Sure.
you have to be cautious that some psychedelics can induce psychosis, and you should consult your doctor.
None of this is advice.
Yes, exactly.
Do not listen to us.
This is experience. No, it's exactly, because we're not advising you to do anything. He's explaining his
Yes,
experience.
my personal experience.
His
only.
experience to awareness, yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that disclaimer.
Have to.
Yeah.
So so that's how I got started.
I think I started. For me, it wasn't that enlightenment of a story. So I grew up as a Muslim, and I never drank till I was 30. And my whole, I had this, horror, that boogeyman horrific thing that if you drink alcohol, you're going to be, homeless, jobless, you're not going to have friends, you're going to be addicted to alcohol. That was, the whole pattern in my head. And until I was 30, and, out with a group of people, and, somebody bought me the first drink, and I started to get, the first buzz, and I was like, oh my fucking god, why did I had to wait 30 years to try this? And this is not addictive at all. What the hell they were talking about, And from there, I went to, everything I know is wrong, because pretty much everything was built on a lie, and this is the first, daring potential step, and it wasn't in, something which is also, to something potential that I would leave the whole trajectory of where I'm going through. But no, this one was at least came around from a place of entertainment or fun. But at the same time, it gave me this paradigm of what else do I know or I believe in that is not correct? And I went through this path, whatever, medicines and yoga and therapy and stuff like that, but just to understand that the perception that you have collected, and the longer you have that ego belt for so long, and you're not resisting to kill that first child, because that's the thing, if your ego, if you didn't kill it, that inner child in you, that ego in it, that dreams that they wanted, that believe that they're the shit, that believe that they are the best one, that believe that no one, every child is a dreamer, right? That inner child in you, you have to kill that ego that is derived from that, because it's all related to the body, it's all related to materialistic, it's not heightened consciousness.
Just to be clear, I wouldn't say kill your inner child, but the ego...
Kill the ego that is in contact with it, yeah.
The ego part that's born from it, just to clarify.
100%, 100%. Yeah. Because you're always going to have your inner child, regardless.
Inner child's good.
Yeah. Inner child is beautiful, and that's how you want to experience everything through that inner child. You want to keep it pleasing in this experience word with the experience that you gain. But with my perspective, it's more killing of the ego. That's why there's people committing suicide thinking that is all life is, because they don't want to let go of the idea of who they are at that time or at the past. They don't know that this is a whole experience. You're not just one physical body, of course, and we're going to talk about that in detail, but you're not just these needs. You know, if somebody is not in your time, if this thing not coming your way, there's a message behind that, and it's going to keep repeating until you learn. So everything that happened, like Marcus Aurelius said, the first book you recommended it to me, you know, Meditations, he was saying, like, face your challenges head on, you know, because everything that happens for you. There is a reason, there is a knowledge for you to learn and to gain, and your God, your soul, your spirit is putting you through that. And you told me that, and I couldn't believe that before. You know, I was like, why am I putting myself through hell? Like, to understand what hell is. You know, and like now going through it and coming off the other end, of course, like I wouldn't even try to shed a light on that period, but it was a very dark, harsh period for me, and it was pretty much what it was going. It was stripping down every belief or all the ego, and like that, because when you look at yourself, man, when you're young, you're looking at yourself as like as this, I'm doing this shit for me. It is very rare to find someone young doing thing for other people. You know what I'm talking about? So the idea of, like, to understand that you only will have more power if you share that power. That's how your power will gain. So by this, you would only have more love if you shared more love. But in order for you to share more love, you have to love yourself unconditionally. And that's the part that I want to talk about right now. The inner thoughts. Like the inner self's thoughts, like the perception of yourself toward yourself, the one you're sitting by your mind in your own time alone. How did you deal with that part? Who's always, like, you know, when people say I'm my harshest critic, that is the worst self-talk. They're their talking. There's I wanna learn from you, like
inner self-talk and critic. Like, how do you regulate that? You know, I don't think there's ever an end. I think you just get better at regulating it. So, you know, I'll put it like this. What I do is I have a process every morning where I go through this whole inner self dialogue, as well as activating my body, working out, you know, hydrating, you know, cardio, you know, something from my mind, of course. But throughout all that happening is also me transmuting this shadow self that's present in that day, in that moment, and aligning to my higher self and aligning to God every morning. Upon awakening, I do that before I get into any type of like business work or anything like that. I do that every day. Some days it's easy. You know, I wake up in that state or close to it. Sometimes it can take 2-3 hours of me going through the motion of my process, priming. You know, I'm not the only one suggesting this. Like Tony Robbins has this priming routine that he talks about. Getting activating your body. He has like breathing technique. He does his cold plunge in the morning. Does affirmations. You know, he does his some kind of breathing thing, Tony Robbins thing. Everyone has their own routine, but I would say in the morning time, just spending that time in the morning to get aligned to your higher self and God and the universe and whatever that takes, whatever your process is for that. I find having a physical component is imperative.
Essentially, yeah.
Having some kind of a spiritual component, like a meditation or something like that, or a nature walk or something, and then some kind of mental component, listening to some kind of audio or something mentally stimulating. In no particular order, you know, but definitely getting that done in the morning and aligning to your highest self, and aligning with God first thing. That's what really helps you win the battle throughout the day. You win the battle of yourself in the morning, and then the rest of the day kind of takes care of itself. You know, you win the war within in the morning, and then that just cascades into the physical reflection of what that looks like in the day. Like, you know, you don't really have too many negative thoughts, you know?
Makes sense.
You don't really have too many self-doubt moments. Or if you do, you have doubt come up, limiting belief. You're like, that's BS. That's my mind just doing, you know, silly things or whatever. That's not my thought. You know? Because I don't subscribe to that thought. Yeah. And that's a daily discipline, you know?
That's true.
You know, I think mental peace and inner peace is the most coveted thing that we covet today, and, you know, humanity being at peace, you know. So, I mean, I don't think it's free. You know, I think that every day you have to go do certain things. Do I think you need to be something else than you already are to, have inner peace. No, I think we already come perfect, but just based on the world and what I found, and being born in the 3-dimensional matrix, if you want to call it, or whatnot, so chaotic. There's so many different energies flying through there to be at peace and tranquility. I'm like, nothing's at peace and tranquility, So, I feel like every day we have to align to it, even when you are a quote unquote awakened, self-actualized person.
You have to walk to it every day.
Yeah, and then I think what happens is that the more you do it, the easier it gets, and then it appears that you don't really have a hard time doing it, and you don't have a hard time doing it. Eventually, at the gym, I don't really have a hard time going to the gym. I just go to the gym. Same kind of thing with the spiritual muscles.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And what he's speaking about is one of those things that it took me reading a couple of books, is that as you try to reach success, or trying to reach anything, you have is just what was it called? It's just a byproduct. It's more about the process and the regimen you have in place every day. Mm-hmm. So, for example, I wanted to learn marketing and the Google certificate and stuff, and I was working a lot. You can remember? So I planned at least, so every 2 hours I work for 8 hours, then I have 2 hours of study, whether it's before or after, 2 hours for gym, sometimes less because I could finish working out faster, so that's more time for me, and at least 30 minutes to an hour a day of just maintenance, whatever, car need gas, groceries, cleaning the house. Mm-hmm. And this process have hugely impacted, that me getting closer, because you put your goal, and then you put your goal into a plan, and you put the plan into steps, and you put that steps, and you have your schedule, and you have your regimen. Like you said, you wake up, you either do cold bath or plunge, or you go to meditate first, go to the sun, try to have some physical activity upon waking up immediately. That's the best of it. We're speaking about the best experience and the best also science, because we're so up into that stuff. Him with training, me being a pharmacist, so we understand that benefit of going through it. But the really thing that knocked it out for me is my inner thought I wasn't loving myself. So, and I know a lot of people was in the same spot as me. And literally, bro, when you don't love yourself, you're living in hell. So for me, I had to reconstruct the way I think about myself first, before having these regimens. Because even if the house was built on, if you have no basis, what is the reason of putting a second or third floor? They're just going to fall apart. Mm-hmm. But in a way, you can find it from the practicing. But for me, the more that I understood the concepts of self-love, the more I understood the patterns, and the more I understood that I cannot but to love myself, because that is the only thing that is genuine, that is really coming from the source and my soul. And right now, I just want to open the idea of our train of thoughts and our perspective on awareness for me, I believe, and I know a lot of people do, that the true existence is just an experience for a non-physical being, an eternal being, which is part of the soul of the collective conscious or God. It also aligns with both sides, and you're just having a test or experience in the 3D. And then after that, you're either gain power, which is go to heaven, or hell, which is, I don't know what that is. But there is, test in this life. And the more we get attracted to that demon, which is that body, ego, anger, hate, fucking prejudice, all that revenge, all that deep, dark, heavy energy from the third body, from the third dimension, from the body, the more you keep following that, the more you're gonna dwindle down, the more you're not gonna even look at yourself, and you're gonna love yourself at that point. So for me, it was, I need to start loving myself, so I need to see the bigger picture, and the bigger picture for me, that I am this being or the soul that was capable of reaching a lot, but I am not this body. And I want to hear your thought about this, about the whole perspective of like collective conscious and the experience you get.
Well, yeah, we're multidimensional spiritual beings. You know, this body is, you know, an extension of our being. I definitely subscribe to that school of thought, that belief system. You know, that's what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everyone has their own beliefs.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's in my experience and my understanding of quantum mechanics, the quantum field, string theory, and just these other modalities of interpreting the universe. I think the point I'm trying to make is that science has gotten far enough to the point where it's matching spiritual truths that have been around for thousands of years. So science has now caught up or proven the same thing, you know. So if you do your research, you can see that. And for me, even without the science catching up, I just had this intrinsic knowing, like this sense of resonance. You can just feel the truth vibration. That's a really cool thing too. Like the more you understand about yourself and your own inner truth and what really makes you tick, the more you can ascertain and discern what is the truth frequency that in other things. When this truth is spoken, you can be like, yeah, get goosebumps and things or whatnot. It resonates with you. So I could tell that just about, you know, having a soul, having the oversoul, the higher self, the multiple dimensions, the energy centers in the body. Yeah, you know, it all makes perfect sense.
So you open up dimensions, which is interesting because when we speak about dimension, people think we like other people live in different dimensions, that like it's us, but we cannot see them. But nothing really changes in the dimensions. It's more of awareness dimension. You're the same being.
Yeah, you're a consciousness. I want you to think about dimensions as perspectives. A different dimension of thought. It's a different perspective of thought. Right? So essentially, if all possibilities are existing in the universe, then parallel realities exist. This is wherever you want to take your consciousness is what materializes in front of you. Everything is potentials, and your different dimensions that you have access to is really different perspectives that you have the ability to see from. Think of dimensions as perspectives.
I cannot explain much. I know that third dimension is the one we're living at as human, the physical one. I know like the fourth is like where everything can happen, but the fifth is like you're having gratefulness for life, and you're aware of like this heavy emotions and the body and the physical need and like the whole dual hyper experience that we're having as a soul into this meat suit that's gonna be lived on, and we cannot like literally escape it for like however long, and we're supposed to do something in this time, in this realm, for our service, and gaining more dimensions. I would actually go to like Matthias De Stefano or Aubrey Marcus. They're pretty good at explaining that. But that's again not my place of expertise. I just know that the more you're not into the ego perception, the more you're not people talking to you and you have that reptile animal reactive body, you're just observing the situation as you're not right in reaction, you're just behind. As you don't react, you see, and you collect, and then you use your mind to use that experience to like gain better situation. This tendency yet needed to happen to be. Are you cold?
I got a little chilly.
Do you want to open the heater?
No, it's fine.
This perspective of like being in the bed, watching the experience of the universe, which is me living my life every day. And actually the heightened part of that is the more you're better at doing the physical norm, whether working out, you know, maintaining the body, to go into the bathroom, taking a shower, doing the sleeping, while giving that part and that connected to the source, which is like your soul, your being, God, the collective conscious, by first looking clear into who you are and loving who you are, the bad parts before the good parts, you know. and because some people cannot escape self-judgment or regret or guilt. And you have no, it's not like you don't have a need for like the third dimension as physical interaction, but you're looking at it from, I am looking at myself as I have no problem and I have no need, because whatever is in my control, that's all I care about. Everything else is not in my control, then why I need to worry about it? It wouldn't change how it happens. But carrying that attitude and that love pushed me to the next topic, which how to practice that love, how to practice like that awareness that we're trying to tell more people or explain into practice to everyday thing that they could do.
You know, I have a meditation practice, right? I think a lot of people underestimate the importance of meditation. Like, you don't meditate just to get good at meditating, right? You meditate to get good at life, right? The practical way that meditation helps you get better at life is it enhances your focus. When you're meditating, in this example, I use transcendental meditation. Essentially, that's just sitting calmly in a chair. You don't have to do crisscross applesauce or anything, but you're sitting, eyes closed in a quiet space. Maybe you can put on some meditation music. And you're just focusing on your breath. You're just sitting, not moving, just focusing on a breathing pattern. Perhaps you can put your focus on your hands, put your focus on your feet, your upper back, your nose. The idea is keeping your focus on the internal world, i.e. your body, your internal state. And every time you catch yourself drifting in thought, you refocus and realign back to your body and your breath. It's not an issue if you start thinking. The whole objective is not to get rid of thoughts. The objective is to train reeling your focus, reeling your attention back to the body. What this does is it does like a repetition, just like you're in the gym. You do a bicep curl, you get a bigger bicep. Every time you reel your focus back to your body when your thoughts drift, you get a bigger focus muscle. So if you're in life, whether you're doing the dishes and you're really tired, it's before bed, but you know that if in the morning, if you wake up to a clean sink and a clean kitchen, you're going to feel a sense of peace and calm, right? When you go and make your coffee, even though you're tired right now, you should probably do that. You can focus your energies, if you meditate, on getting through the dishes. If you're at work and you have to finish a project, you know that you're telling yourself weird shit at nighttime. I'll wake up an hour earlier in the morning and finish it. When you know it's going to stress you out upon awakening, you know, so you don't have a night. You know, usually how you wake up into the day is how the day goes. The morning dictates the day, usually, for the most part, right? You can use your focus muscle to keep your focus. Where focus goes, your energy flows. Where focus goes, energy flows. Whatever you can focus on is going to eventually get done. Right? Whatever you give it your attention to, you're going to, align your actions in the direction of your attention and your focus, obviously. So it would make sense you would have a more developed focus muscle. So the more you can focus, the more present you can be with life, to answer your question, to become more in tune. Setting aside time in the day to meditate, people don't understand the attention span in America for most, like, 3-4 seconds or something like that. And TikTok or less, 2.4 seconds now. 2.4 seconds, something like that. You can't do anything 2.4 seconds. You can't experience, even if you're in a beautiful, like mountain, cliffside, scenic scene, beautiful on the side of a mountain, Lake Tahoe, or one of those cool mountain areas. Can't even take it in without wanting to take your phone out, take a picture, do all that. I'm not saying don't take your phone out, take a picture, but man, I would just take a few moments and just take all that in. Most people can't focus on that for that long. They don't have the ability to focus. So if you don't have the ability to meditate, if you can't sit in the chair and just keep your attention on your breath, not to say you don't have thoughts, but just for 5-10 minutes, you can't just sit there for 5-10 minutes and just think about your breath. I'm like that, if you don't have the ability to do that, that's a problem. You know what I mean? The human, in your ability to operate the human being, this is the human being, operating system is the body. The mind and body is it's a vehicle for the spirit. Your spirit is what's animating all your moves, observing your thoughts and deciding what thoughts it wants to cling on to then become emotionalized and charged, and then, you know, actions taken on as a byproduct of feeling those emotions, right? Emotion drives action. You know, it's your spirit. So, you know, when you're putting your focus on the inner world like that, you're getting closer to your spirit also. And the closer you are to your spirit, the closer you are to driving, to being on the steering wheel, closer you are to being next to the person that's driving. Your spirit's always driving. You're not driving. Your mind is not you. It's a tool to think about these, to observe these different thoughts and whatnot, right? So,
Thank you. Yeah.
by meditation, you not only you build your focus muscle, but you get closer to your true spiritual essence as a person. You get to know yourself really good. It's hard to explain it more than that to someone who's never done it, but anybody watching that's meditated, they'll understand completely. Like, oh yeah, of course. But otherwise, you know, it's like describing the color red to a blind person. It's like, how would you describe the color red to a blind person? It's like, you wouldn't. It's impossible because they're blind.
But that's the whole problem.
Right, so they have to be able to see, right? So I'm like, instead, you would make that person see. I'm like, well, how do you learn to see? Well, start meditating.
Okay. And
Just 5-10 minutes a day. Sit in a chair, quiet place, put on some meditation music. Just sit with yourself, sit with your breath. Ideally, you want to work up to 20 minutes. 20 minutes is a good session. That's a good place to start. And in this game, more is better. If you can do morning, midday, night, that's the fastest way to progress. But at least once a day. At least I'd say once in the morning. Really, morning and night. Morning, midday, night is really if you want to go fast. I would recommend that. I was doing this all the time.
how long for 3
Years.
sessions? No, for how long? Like 30 hour? Doesn't matter.
I would start 5-10 minutes. As you
Okay.
get good at it, work up to 20-minute sessions. I would say instead of doing one long meditation, it's better to do 3 20-minute meditations, broke like one in the morning, one midday, one at night before bed. You know, and then you'll get more proficient, and you know, you can, if you're feeling it, you're in a groove and you're floating, flying around in different dimensions in the mind. Then you can, you know, stretch it if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have some meditations where, you know, meditating for hours, but I'm getting a lot done in the spirit world.
Of course.
So it makes my life in the physical a lot more chill because I can go through and handle my life energetically with my consciousness, and then the actions follow suit.
Have you met your spirit before?
What do you mean by have I met?
Like,
I've met my
So
spirit.
do you know like the genetic makeup of your spirit? You know, like you told me you know your spirit name.
I do.
Nice.
Yeah.
So there's anything else you know other than the name, like the behavior?
The personality traits. The spirits have personality traits. Your higher self has a personality.
Oh, really?
Yeah, everyone has personality, spiritual personality.
Oh, that's
that's
fine.
why we're all different.
Okay.
That's why we all choose different avatars in the physical.
We choose?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, we choose. We choose skill sets.
100%.
Yeah, we definitely choose skill sets, of course, for whatever's best for the mission that we're trying to accomplish here.
Makes a lot of sense if one put it that way.
Yeah, it's like a game. It's like, choose your player.
Literally, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's why we're the same meta as, like, this is so funny because we're the universe experience, watched by the spirit, watching our virtual experience, having an experience of this experience in itself. It's just so hilarious.
Yeah. It's still all real. You're still,
Yeah.
you're the higher self and you're the physical player.
Yeah,
You're all
and
of
you're
it.
the other, like, meta player, too, in the same time, living that other world experience. That,
Yeah, you're all of it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's crazy when you really start to see it. It's wherever you want to put your focus and attention, right? That's another reason meditation. You can get, if you don't meditate, it's easy to get caught up in the higher dimensions and forget about the physical world. You know, you see a lot of
You have to have your feet firm, and that is a very
it keeps the energy grounded.
Thank you for saying that. Yes, trying to go all spiritual and just hoping or doing visualization without the action. I mean, that is good, but that is not the full picture, guys. The full picture is working to, like, because honestly, the experience itself that we have is so little that you need to be doing something worth living for every day. Because once you dissipate from this world and this being and this physical activity, like this physical realm, it's like, why was I sitting? Why was I being bored? Why was I alone? Why was I lazy? You know, because all of that is also a factor of like the comfort zone or the ego, which is all trying to keep
the
us,
matrix. You know what I mean?
The ego. It's true. The matrix.
Well, the matrix is designed
on us
to
first.
bring that out, that comfortable, like self-serving type of energy. It's meant to cater to that type of energy. You know, self-preservation, comfort first. You know, these are all satanic principles.
Yeah.
So
okay, so we're good on that. Which is pretty much
there's a lot of truth in the Kabbalion, but it's overall like it's just not service to the collective; it's service to oneself.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing. It's like self-preservation. It's just a low vibrational way to go about it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's a very low vibrational.
Have you read the book, The Kabbalion?
I've read not cover to cover, but I've read enough of it to get the gist of it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Have you read the Hermetic Principles?
Yeah.
These are like more. I think that religion came as like the tip-top shape of this.
The Kabbalion's true. You read stuff in there. I mean, it's how to manipulate reality. But I mean, you can manipulate reality for your own best interest, or you can do it for, you know, the service to the collective.
And that's what's going on right now.
Well, that's what which supports life is supported by life. So you end up living a way happier life. When you do service to self, you take from others.
Wow, brilliant.
Yeah.
Can you explain that a little bit more?
When you do service to self, you're taking from others. When you're doing service to the collective, you're already a limited source, and you're giving. You're just a giving machine. You're getting your energy from the animating intelligence of the universe. Well, animals are a great example. Let me explain like that. Like the animals, they don't even know where the next meal is going to come from. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like they don't even know.
True.
They just wake up in the morning and just go get food.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but they're all well taken care of. They're supported by life and the ecosystem of life. Right. The same thing is true for us. We're just creators. We have the ability of free choice. So it's a little bit more complex. We can choose freely to put ourselves in the matrix mentally. The matrix is mental. And the world we've incarnated into is, you know, it's meant to imprison your mind into that way of thinking. So because we have free choice, we are in the space where we can be manipulated. So, I mean, that's just what we chose coming here. I don't want to get too deep into, like, that whole part of it. But essentially,
I want you to get deep.
Well, sure.
I wanted to listen.
I just don't, I guess what I'm saying is I don't want to digress from the main point
of,
like, because we have free choice, we can choose to imprison our mind.
100%.
Which then imprisons us. Yeah. So a lot of this is unlearning. And I also believe that, you know, as people that have escaped the matrix and understand the matrix, there's a divine duty. You know, Andrew Tate always says this, you know, like go back and help people. You know, he doesn't like, you know, go and show people the way out. You know, because like you were saying, I mean, you can't live on normal wages.
Yeah, we're just saying example.
You can't have a good life on normal wages. And look at inflation; everything's getting more and more expensive. I mean, you can't. Come on, that's the slave life. It's not cool.
And you haven't even been through it. That's how sad it is. You haven't really experienced that slave life. Because you always have your own thing since you were like a kid. Like you really like did this kind of minimum wage job just a little.
I experienced a slave life for a very brief moment of time. And I very quickly understood this is not the direction for me. Mm-hmm. You know, I went and got a skill set. I always had like this little divine. I always say all glory to God and everything because even if I'm an old soul, like God is still the one that made my soul older. Mm-hmm. So I always say all glory to God. All glories to God. He gives us the authority to, you know, usher the truth, if you will, steward the truth. But definitely all glory to God. So with that said, yeah, I just had this knowing when I was little. You know, I worked at like 7-Eleven. You know, I've worked at, you know, vitamin shop, retail, like for hourly wages. Mm-hmm. I worked labor jobs I worked just manual labor for another private contractor. You know, like we'd be up on like boom lifts, like trimming palm trees at hotels, tearing out the carpet for the I remember it was my job to like take all the furniture out of a room and take three hotel rooms and put the furniture of 2 hotel rooms in one, and then we rip out the carpet of those 2, replace the carpet, put the furniture back, and you know, so I've done manual labor, you know, under table work for hours, 7-Eleven, vitamin shop. I'm like, that ain't it. I'm like, how do you survive?
Those jobs will make you
I mean, I remember I got some, when I made some, I was excited that I made some money, but after a while, I'm like, this isn't enough.
Yeah.
I go out for one nice, I can't even afford going to BJ's and ordering 2 cocktails and...
those who knows, the knows, you know.
Kazookies are real. But I'm like, I get a meal, I'm like, shit, man, if I spend $100 on dinner, I'm like, I worked a whole day of my life
for this.
To eat this meal?
Yeah.
I was here for an hour.
It's sad, I know.
Maybe 90 minutes if I took my time. I'm like, that can't be right. And then I'm thinking in the future, I'm like, I'm young now, I'm living in my parents' house. I'm like, what happens when I get older? I was asking these questions. I was like, fuck. Yeah. So I'm like, what do I do? So anyway, I was at the gym, and then I was, Omar. Remember fucking Omar? I love Omar. Bless Omar's soul. He's just a homie.
Omar, I love you.
I'm just saying, he was the first baller. He was the first baller. He was the first baller.
He's the one that escaped it, even in his own ways.
He just knew. He was like, this is stupid. All this is stupid.
In some way, I'm saying we weren't even recognizing he was speaking.
He was already out the matrix. He was just looking at us like, what?
And aware too. He was hiding awareness for weird reason. This kid, like, God bless him, man.
God bless his soul. We're still friends to this day. Hey, a beautiful guy. Beautiful soul. Love him. I'll do anything for him.
Love him to death, yeah.
I know. But this motherfucker, he would be always inviting us to Denny's after the gym. I'm like, bro, I barely got enough money for this weed I'm smoking that I just dropped 5 on with my other friend. My other friend got a switcher. And I'm like, we're going to split this other $5 bill on some McChickens right now. I'm like, he's over here dropping $20 every day at Denny's, dog. You get the steak and fries, little appetizer roll, a side of pancakes. If you wanted a milkshake, I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, he's trying to get those gains.
We're like probably 18 at the time, right? 19.
Yeah, okay.
Broke as shit. Brokies. Straight brokies. Right? So, I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I work at my parents' restaurant. I make tips. I'm like, what do you mean tips? I'm like, I'm over here thinking, like, whatever, you leave a couple bucks after a table. I'm just ignorant as a kid. So he's explained this. His parents had a restaurant. He would work for them, and then, people would leave 5, 10, 20 bucks, depending on how much their bill was. And, per meal, and then he was like, every hour, I can do like anywhere from like 4 to 8 tables, you know what I mean? So they leave, let's just say on average $10 each. I just made $40 in that hour if I had 4 tables, or if I had 8 tables, I had $80 in the hour. I'm like, what?
He's making a pharmacist salary working bussing tables. That's pretty, like,
at his parents' restaurant.
Facts. That's facts. That's what I'm saying.
Facts, right? So then I'm looking, I'm like, oh, what? And then he's like, yeah. So I'm just like, I go to work a couple hours a day, 4, 5, 6 hours, make a couple $100 in a day. I'm like, I make a couple $100 a week, right? So I'm like, no wonder. Anyway, so the restaurant. So then I'm like, I need to get a restaurant job. So then what do? I told Omar, I'm like, let me work in your restaurant right now. He's like, oh shit, and we actually do need some help. We actually do need to hire one more person. Well, they were opening another location.
Oh, yeah, the one in the Thomas.
Yeah. It's the universe, right? It's aligned.
Yeah.
So he was opening the Natomas location. It's another location. So I started working there. I started making money serving. So I'm like, oh, wow. So now I pretty much went from, I was working at Vitamin Shop and 7-Eleven, doing manual labor, just working all day, hours a day, to make money, like sleep and work and gym work, sleep. Enough, You know what I mean? Barely having days off, and like that's all I was doing, just living that life. I'm like, I can't do this forever. You know what I mean? I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, was I at work? Was I on my phone at work here and there? Sure. At 7-Eleven, was I eating snacks and stuff? But I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, I ain't doing what I want to do. I'm making someone else rich. I'm supporting their business. I'm helping them do what they need to do. So I worked the restaurant job. That's cool. There was another restaurant next to Omar's restaurant. So now, because I wasn't a lazy person, so I'm like, okay, let me do 2 restaurant jobs. So I'm working 2 restaurant jobs. Now I'm making $3,000 to $4,000 a month.
That's good, bump.
I went from making $1,500 to $2,000 a month to $3,500 to $4,000.
So minimum wage to like the first bump, 60K, yeah.
Right. So see, now I'm kind of breathing.
Okay, at least, yeah.
I'm breathing now.
This wouldn't make us survive right now. Just to say to people,
no, $3,000 to $4,000 ain't shit. But back then, living at my parents' house.
Back then, 7, 8 years ago.
I'm still living at my parents' house. Yeah. So I'm able to now go out to eat.
You had the school Honda. You
Yeah, I had a 2015 Honda Accord.
That was brand new, right?
It was 1 year old.
Yeah,
it was used, but it was 1 year.
Yeah, like it came out of lease or something.
Yeah. It's like 10 years ago, man. This is like 10 years ago. So I'm serving at a Honda. I'm smart, right? So I start serving. I start selling weed to all my server friends. Everyone wanted weed after work. I see the need for this.
The need for weed.
Yeah, the need for weed. I ended up working. So then I'm like, I need to work in restaurants that are even more higher end. They make more money. Mm-hmm. So I got a job at Cheesecake Factory and Seasons. Cheesecake Factory and Seasons 52. There's a little bit more upscale dining.
Yeah.
Lunches at Seasons, evenings at Cheesecake Factory. Now I'm bodybuilding. I've been bodybuilding for some time. Now I had kind of ran into my first mentor, and then he inspired me to start personal training and doing online coaching and stuff. So now I'm training a couple of people online, just a little bit, getting my feet wet, working at restaurants, selling weed to servers. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm pulling in, maybe 1,000 to 1,500
a week.
I was gonna say from online coaching.
Oh, okay.
To restaurants, $4,000 or so. Selling weed, maybe 500. You know what I mean? Whatever.
So 5 or 6K, 7K,
5, 6K a month or something like that.
60K.
5, 6K a month. So I'm doing 5, 6K a month, right? I'm like 20 years old.
Okay.
So I'm like 20.
20
is something 20. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm not going back to manual labor or hourly work now. I'm like, there's no way. The worst, I'm like, I'll just go get another restaurant job.
Exactly, dude.
Restaurants are where it's at. I'm just like, you find a good restaurant job.
For real.
Because, your tips, you know what I mean? Like, you get, if you work in the right restaurant, right area, right kind of people that know how to tip right,
mm-hmm.
You get 10, 15, 20 bucks a table, times 4 or 5 tables in an hour. You do the math on that. You work a, 4 or 5 hour shift, dinner rush, you can walk out of a restaurant in 6 hours with anywhere from $200 to $400.
Wow.
One time I walked into Cheesecake Factory at 5:30. The server in the daytime was just trying to leave because they had been working for 7 hours on their feet.
Yeah.
They transferred me 4 or 5 tables that already had their orders taken, food ready, couple check. I probably, within 20 minutes, had made like $110, not doing shit. I was like, hey, I'm taking over for Christine, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Over there,
yeah, well, she already made her money. She probably made $300 and bounced. Well, I just made this family, 6 people, you know what I mean? The bill's like $300. 15, 20% of 300, it's anywhere from like $45 to $60.
Yeah.
Right? Times 2, 3 of those tables, it's $120, $180.
And
this is in 1 hour. I've made $180. Now, in restaurants, guys, you don't keep all the money. Okay.
Oh, really? Sure with that?
You have to tip the busser that cleans the table. You're tipping the host. You're tipping sometimes the kitchen staff. Tips get shared through the entire restaurant. People don't understand this. You're not just paying.
Can you please explain that?
There's different percentages, but like let's say you make $500, you're gonna give $150 to $200 away.
Oh, okay, so like third of like whatever.
Yeah. Different restaurants, different policies, but I mean like there's so many people working. So a lot of people don't know that. But anyway, so that's what I'm doing. That was going good, and then it got to a point where I started like reading a lot more books. I got very disciplined in the morning. I'm waking up at 5 a.m. I'm reading, I'm meditating, I'm journaling, I'm doing affirmations. I'm going to sleep with like subconscious mind reprogramming stuff. I've discovered personal development. Every time I drive to work at Cheesecake Factory, I'm listening to audiobooks now. I'm listening to podcasts now. My training and my coaching has expanded. I'm trying to start business stuff. I'm trying out different things. Me and Omar, we tried to bottle their hot sauce company. We tried to bottle their hot sauce company.
Idea. It still might have a reboot.
We tried to make a hot sauce company. We did some digital marketing stuff. Had some success there. Had a lot of little fun entrepreneurial projects. Just learning, expanding the mind. Ty Lopez, he had a big course out called 67 Steps where he gave out 67 different wealth creation principles. So we're watching those every day. Man, I remember watching those. They would be mind expanding. It would really give me a headache because of how much knowledge and wisdom, how much stretching. It would stretch my mental fabric so much in my mind. And then it would wake me up to all these different perspectives and outlooks in life. So I did that from age like 19, mid 19 to 20, all the way to like 22. And then at this point, the coaching's picking up more. I was able to hire my first business coach to help me like scale my fitness coaching business and teach me like actual systems and processes. And then I had like my first like big money, you know, making, you know, over 10 grand a month. And then after that, you kind of experienced life differently at this point.
Of course.
You know, at this point. So, and doing it consistently. So then I would say I got out the matrix about age 22.
Good.
Yeah, age 22.
That's like a get out of jail free card for a lot of people. It's very rare to get and to do.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying I never had financial troubles ever again, because, you know, obviously I was like swinging for the fences trying to expand as, you know, the tree don't stop growing.
Yeah.
But I always knew, like, I knew how to make money. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, like, you know what I mean? Like, I know how to make money. You know what I mean? I have a skill set. You know, I understand the internet and the ability to talk to people and sales. You know, I've done enough sales calls and understanding a problem people have, articulating it back to them, and, you know, giving them a solution to their problem. You know, people give you money in exchange for solutions to their problems. They have a problem, you have a solution, hey, I'll trade you money for a solution.
Yeah.
Whatever that, I understood that. So I'm like, okay, cool. It gave me some kind of like security, like, okay, no matter what, I'll be alright.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So from then I ended up trying other stuff and, you know, falling down, failing, getting back up, trying other stuff, learning more about myself, expanding my consciousness, got into different things from there. So yeah.
Alright. So meditation.
Yep.
3 times a day. Doesn't matter if it's 5 minutes. Try to stretch them each time as much as you can, right?
5 minutes to start.
Yeah.
Work up to 20 minutes.
Okay. And what else do you do in the morning?
Something for your body. For me, I like to foam roll. I have a foam roller.
Okay, stretching. Okay.
Stretching in the morning, get the blood flow. I do coffee. I like to get outside, get some fresh air, move the body around. Sunlight.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I wake up, the sun hasn't come up yet.
Okay.
So, you know,
You're following
foam rolling, ideally, you know what I mean? Sometimes with work and things or whatnot, I might need more sleep. But ideally, I'd say, yeah, 4:44 or 5. That's in a perfect world. That's how when I would wake up. I'm a big believer in that, waking up before the sun comes up and just getting ahead of the day. You know, being ahead of the day.
Yeah.
Even if you're just awake with yourself, having some coffee for 20-30 minutes, cup of coffee or two. Just the tranquility and peace that's available at 5 in the morning it's not available if you wake up at 7. You know, the days pretty much start.
If you wake up around from the 3 to 5, it's like whatever, like downloads, right? 3 to 4.
Very spiritual hour.
Yeah. But there's usually the day is set, or like because you kind of catch a train which is a high vibration at this time, from 3 to 5 or like 5:20, or like it's usually 3 to 4 to be exact. But waking up that early, you reach that good vibration in the morning. And then when you reset your brain, which is what you're saying, so you're like aligning that higher self, it's easier to do it in the morning. Then the rest of the day is following with that vibration, and it's easier to build up on that.
Yeah. You really want to get activated in the morning, break a sweat early in the morning. It really activates your mind and your body to perform at a high level the rest of the day. You have a better quality of thinking. You can think through problems and experience more peace as a byproduct of solving the problems in your life. Because it's interesting, when you wake up that early, the problems that you have, they're not really weighing down on you as much. Like if you have bills to catch up on, hard conversations to have, or shit, maybe you even have to go to work and do something you're not looking forward to.
Yeah.
You know, that ain't happening at 5 a.m.
Sure.
You're going to have 5 to 6:37 a.m. of just inner peace and tranquility to have coffee, give yourself positive self-talk. You're ahead of the chaos of the day.
There is a mantra for your self-talk?
Just if you're having self-limiting
Just
beliefs.
say it, bro, because that's what I will share.
No, I mean just self-talk. Just, you know, if I catch myself having a negative train of thought, I'll literally just be like, nope, that's not real.
Okay.
That's not my thoughts.
Okay.
That's an illusion. Obviously, because it's normal to prosper in the kingdom, so if it's not a prosperous thought, it's obviously a false thought. Truth is prosperous, life is prosperous, the universe is prosperous. So if it's not prosperous, that means it's just BS. You know what I mean? All potentials exist, so, you know, if prosperity is there, the opposite of prosperity must be available, obviously, right? So, and being a conscious creator, we can choose each one. I believe every day is a new breath, so every day you have to kind of, you know, pay your dues, so to speak, you know, choose the higher vibration. I think the more we do that, we just get really good at it to the point where we dwell there, and then we don't experience this duality. That's what the fifth dimension is. It's outside of duality. There's no more good and bad. It's just you're one with life. It's harmony, state of harmony. This doesn't mean that you don't experience negative vibration. It's just a vibration. It's not a label of something good happening or something bad happening. Right? It's like, oh, this is a low vibrational experience. That's a higher vibrational experience. And this is your default way of viewing life. That would be the fifth dimension. You're moving in harmony with life. You're one with the orchestration of life, right? You know, fourth dimension, that's time, you know, the perception of time and whatnot. You can go think in your mind, the memories, and, you know, you can think into the future, you know. That would be, you know, you're manipulating time, so to speak. You know, you're in the fourth dimension, the mental realm, fourth dimension. Right? Third dimension is the physical body. It's here in the present moment, in the physical. Right, so your consciousness is going between all the dimensions, depending on where you want to put it. So, and that can all be done in the morning, really simply, because it's calm in the morning. The energy in the air is just calm. Less people are awake.
That's true.
So the more awake, there's less vibrations awake. There's less people, more people are sleeping. They're in that sleep vibration.
It's calmer.
Yeah, it's a delta wave in the brain. You're sleeping delta, right? Delta, theta, theta, delta. And then you wake up into like an alpha and then a beta, which is a much faster frequency. So the frequency early in the morning is much slow. So it's very much, it's like a calm weather, if you will, figuratively.
So it's easier to raise the vibration once waking up because you're already starting from a good peaceful place. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, what if you wake up and there's like bombs going off and you're in a war zone? That's not, you know, it's pretty stressful, like, you know what I mean? It can be like that energetically in your mind.
Well, it can be really too physically for some people in parts of the world right now.
Correct.
Correct.
For sure.
Yeah. So.
Not to say that that's not happening, but I mean just to give an example, like, it can feel like that.
When it comes to like, there's really actually physical harshness people are living on right now.
Absolutely.
Okay. So waking up, adjusting the frequency by practicing meditation and getting sunlight.
I think a solid morning routine is to wake up and first thing just be grateful, because it's a positive affirmation. Make your bed. I like to, you know, have coffee and use the bathroom. I'll even skip brushing my teeth. I'll just get to the gym as soon as possible. You know, just treadmill in my house, start doing cardio right there. You know, if you have access to a sauna, just hop in the sauna right there. You want to break a sweat as soon as possible. As soon as possible. As soon as you wake up, you want to break a sweat of some kind. It's the fastest way to merge your spirit with your body and really get activated. You know, coffee, that helps. Of course, no one wants to work out when you have to use the bathroom. So use the bathroom. Coffee helps that too. Get some fresh air, some gym clothes on, go for a run. If you don't have access to a gym that's close by, go for a run immediately. If it's cold where you live, put on some thermals, beanie, layer up, go on a run. Stretch in the house, warm up, go run. That's the best thing to do. If you can, work out, whatever you want. Physical activity. After that, I would, you know, come back home, shower, change, you know, either read a book or meditate and then read a book.
So you would meditate after working out?
Yeah. I would definitely work out first. Get your body primed.
Okay. Increase the vibration of the body, and then you go from the body to the mind.
The body is the vehicle.
Because it has to be,
Yeah, it's the perfect sequence. Yeah, even the yogis, when they first wake up, they shower, they clean the energy off of the night, everything was trailing. Then after that, they go and they sit down for yoga, do either yoga, and after yoga, then they activate their body. It's a body. As you activate your body, you activate your mind. As you activate your mind, you activate your body. Both is kind of happening. Then after that, then yoga, then they go and meditate.
Okay. And that is like your way of sure guarantee to at least raise your vibration and have more awareness or connect.
For sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you do it in the morning before the turbulence of the day of your life. Even if in your own life you have things that are issues, they're just less prominent in the morning, 4 or 5 a.m. So you'll have that couple hours to have a high vibration, and then when the day begins and you have to face the problems, you're already vibrating in a very high state. And you can think of more creative solutions. Sometimes the solution to your problem may not even be available at the vibration that you wake up at.
Exactly.
So, I mean, you can really be crippling yourself here to wake up late, and then you don't have the ability to access the intelligence to solve your problem. You have to now go, whatever, calm down. You're already freaking out now, and you have to handle it. You can't. Now you have to go work out, do some other stuff, feel better, and then try to think through the problem. So, recipe for disaster, right? And then you're behind. And you're like, oh, you're trying to catch up. You're like, and then life feels really heavy, and, you know. But if you wake up early, get a workout in, align with God, talk to your spirit, pray, meditate. These things put you in such a better mood and an elevated state of being. And then when it comes time to do what you got to do, your brain has been firing already. It's warmed up. It's already conditioned. It's synced, linked up to your higher self, and you'll be able to download solutions to your problems. And your brain speed will be much faster. You'll be able to access. It's like in a computer. You know, if you only have 2 gigabytes of RAM and you need 5 gigabytes of RAM to run a certain program, I mean, in the morning you might wake up with 2 gigabytes of RAM. But if your program that you need to run to solve your problem is going to take 5 gigabytes of RAM, then you need 5 gigabytes of RAM. So you have to get more RAM, you know. How do you do that? You raise your vibration, working out, meditation, reading, personal development, stretching, sauna, cardio.
Yeah.
Positive self-talk.
I love that he's going over it so fast because he's been experiencing it. For me, it has been like less than a year. So I have a little bit more like the dummy version of what you're saying, but it's more like it adds up to, it makes sense to me, for example, you know. So for me, like when you were saying, first thing is you wake up and you're trying to work on yourself as this thought is bullshit, this doubt is like not true or fake, you know, this delusion, this insecurity, this anger, you know, which some people, a lot of people wake up angry, you know, this emotion that is realming, that is all just an illusion, you know, because if it's not a prosperous thought or if it's not something that brings happiness and excite your intuition or inner being, it is taking you down to the other realm of like that third dimension. It's heavier, deeper, you know, more harsher emotions over there. So we already been as human beings through that, and already the planet vibration is going up when we're talking about this. But when he says raise your vibration, he really means as you are living in that place that you would love the most. The action that you would love doing that will give you the fulfillment of your true potential. We all have that. And by the way, we all have certain talents, Akaash, to do some stuff better than others. You know, some people live their life and never recognize it. You know, and some people as daring as you know, maybe if I could say maybe at this age, you know, trying to do the same thing as trying to follow like what is the thriving happiness potential that would be worth for me to put effort, but I wouldn't look at it as an effort, as something that I love, because we all experience something we love so much, you know? Like, we were already going to the gym 20 years ago, I couldn't leave it because I got hooked and I loved it so much and I was obsessed on it. So there was some stuff that I didn't follow through in my career or in my life or in my potential in general, just because I thought that, I have to do what I'm a third generation PhD, so it's like it's a blessing and a curse in the family, because for you to reach that amount of like 15 years in the school and studying like one of the difficult schools, like I have the potential, right? But what I learned later, and I wanted to talk to you about this, the shadow potential, is when your true potential is hiding through something that imitates what your true potential is, but you're too scared to take your, like what you did, the daring first step on actually trying to find what you love. So your shadow is going to come up with a fake potential. They're going to tell you, well, this is hard. This is going to give you the social status. It's going to make everybody like you. This is just going to say, I'm a medical professional, pharmacist, dentist, physician, and people are going to look at you differently, right? So you're going to achieve everything you wanted by just having this fake potential. And then you go through the whole realm, and everything the devil says, just take a bite of the apple, whatever, it's always short. You find out that whenever you start to work on this, whenever it is time to get good, this is horrible work condition, dehumanizing, and insufferable tyranny that you have to go through, and obeying that many laws and regulations that it doesn't make sense. You learn 90 or 100% of knowledge, you apply 2 or 3% in your little job. So why did I need to learn about biochemistry in the lab if I'm never going to use it again? I love biochemistry, by the way. Well, that's a good example. Why analytical chemistry, for example, it's useless. There was like some smells over there, the bottleneck smells.
You're saying you love it, but it doesn't have much practical utility.
That's what I'm saying. So and it isolates you too, because when you grow up and like the only thing you could do is be like a physician, and then like whatever you don't want to be a physician anymore. What do you want to do? You're like skillless, because without the skill that you developed so many years on, there is nothing else good for you. And that's the potential, like that's like the situation you find a lot of people in. They hate what they do, they don't want to do it anymore, but they're still on that journey of finding what they love instead, and trying to evade that fake shadow. Oh, you're going to be better in this. It's like, no, I didn't choose this because I liked it. I chose this because I liked the school, but I didn't really care about the practice. But that's also not a good thing to look at, because I had to go to school. I had no option but to. You know what I'm talking about? So the dilemma is, the more this ego-centered, like the pathway that you created for yourself, the direction, the path or the journey that you took, trying to find that this ego going to repay you or going to give you whatever you wanted, or like this idea, it just shatters. And it's so detrimental for a lot of people, because they think that they are this body and there's little minute experience about their career or whatever they can do, but they don't know that this is supposed to kill, because you can't change the ego, you have to kill it. And from different people, they've been saying the more you're seamlessly killing your ego, like it doesn't really matter to you that, you told me something and that was against my ego. Okay, that ego is dead now. I learned something. Now it's this one, because you never leave ego. It never leaves you, right? But at the same time, you always modulate it to the better information, to the better correctness, to always keep it in check. Because again, this hyper existence, that you have the soul, which has nothing to do with the physical, and it's more about spiritual, giving love, and then you have this physical realm that if you went to an edge of it, you can be such a fighting asshole, the dominant, revenge, whatever, or you can get to the good part, which is what we're talking about, the connection with our spirit potential. The connection with what will really make us fulfilled. What potential will make me fulfilled. And I've been getting this message for a while that you've collected a lot of knowledge. It's time to share it. And from different people, different meetings, different... Dude, it was weird. For the last couple of months, I was like, okay, I've been getting this, and have been synchronicities around it. And that's another thing, when you're like when he was talking about focus, any idea comes in your mind and you try to grab your attention back to just focus on like that breath or nothing. Literally, man, the more you take your attention, it's the most expensive thing you got. It's like the highest thing you can give someone is your attention, anything or something,
Yeah.
So giving you that bad thought, this attention, giving that person that messed you up, this person, eventually you're gonna dwindle out on the self-talk, and you think you're worthless and you're not good enough, but we're going for it as this is them. That's why I said, going back a little step, be not an interactive mind. This is their experience. This is their vibration. You know, I'm not accepting it. I'm just expressing love. I know I didn't say anything to offend them, right? I know like how we know how to defend ourselves, but really, like, I would say 100 to 99.999% of anybody live face physical altercation. You know, it's very, very rare. But the idea of taking other energies to be able to pierce through your armor, which is love, is something that I had a huge time, because for me, being love and putting myself out there is being vulnerable. But I wasn't good for my ego part. Is like when somebody tried to throw their energy at you, or like say something bad or whatever, try to change your vibration. It's just like a piercing, you know, spear. If you let it come to you, yes, they left. They didn't come here and try to attack you or something, because you can defend like your the area you're in. But at the same time, if that word, if that look, if that vibration just lingered a little bit in your mind, then you're going to be in the same vibration. And then you're going to lose this hierarchy. And that's like part of the challenge is, it is intentional giving love, which is me looking for the best of like human beings around me, everyone, including myself and everybody around me. I mean, it just doesn't matter first or not first, because it's still, you have to look for yourself first in order for you to be able to help other people. But that is also given, so you cannot give love without loving yourself fully, you know. So when you see that, and you see like that undeniable resistance every day from people around, and it's just like my field, you know, I work in retail and this is what I get, and after some hours every day I'll come back and like I'll be filled with a lot of energies, and it would take hours for me to release it. I would like finish work around 9, I would sleep by 3 or 4, and I have to wake up again at 9 because I had to release that negative energies that I've been getting the whole day. And I didn't know, like, this is driving me insane. And again, and that's what I was telling you today when we were driving here, that I'm very grateful for the challenges and the situation, the difficult situation that put me in, because you get the best things from under stress, you know, the need is the mother of invention. I wouldn't figure out my way if the way I was told, if this way I was going on wasn't really my way. It wouldn't be that hard, right? And coming back from that, I wanted to exert more love, not caring about whatever they say, because I was always giving more love. You know, so whatever we have a customer or something that is more rude, I would actually be more nicer to them than usual. You know? Yeah, and they cannot resist that, because nobody have a protection against love.
Nobody.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And whatever they try to throw negative or shade or hate or ego or whatever coming out of them, you don't have to receive it as long as you're giving more than they giving you of negative energy. You're giving more of positive energy toward them. Then you see their whole mannerism change, their whole like physical and like body language and vibration, just they relax. Because like, why this dude is being so nice to me? They're embarrassed of themselves, and that's part of like the whole awareness is what pushed me to see for what Akaash is going through, and a lot of people, and I have Brian also, is that there's something about life I'm not figuring out. You know, I haven't learned it because I'm so angry into like, I gotta set a goal and I gotta reach it. I gotta this plan and I gotta work so hard. I gotta do it. I gotta work out so much for so long, for 2 decades. For now, people telling me, "Are you on roids?" It's like it's cute, but it's funny that I can push these, but I'm still doubting myself. I'm not giving credit for myself. I'm still finding myself as like, okay, so. Like I'm starting from zero. It might look like this, but it doesn't mean that I like 100%. I'm not capable of anything. That idea itself was the whole part of like, by giving love first, it's fixed my mind. You know, by giving undeniable love. Like, bro, I don't care what you say to me, man. I'm just gonna be more nice to you. I'm gonna be general. I'm gonna be caring about you, bro. I'm gonna be like the guard, like even the security guard, like when it was raining and stuff. It was like, come on, man, stay inside. I was like, yeah, bro, it's smart to stay inside. I was like, yeah, man, it's all good. He thought I was checking on him, but I was actually happy that he stayed inside because it's better than staying in the rain. You know what I'm talking about? So he didn't even get it, but I mean that's cute. It's like because people did not understand that they cannot see like a guy who's big or like physically aggressive or whatever they call it if you have muscle right now, that he would be the one giving love. They think that is Allah. I don't think and guys are so self-conscious of receiving love, you know, from being nice to people or smiling because we're thought to be these people who are like emotionless. And we're supposed to.
Oh yeah. I know what you mean.
You know.
Yeah.
The society expects on guys to never cry, but if anybody else cried, everybody would be around them, right? It's like, why? How is that fair? Especially not for, and that's for guys. And then you come back for the real like disaster is that guy throwing through racism and resistance from the own society. And we're the one reaching peace first, you know. We're the one like looking for, because it's all about like this experience that it has to be so hard for you to get that lesson to be better than people around you. There's no way around it, man. There's no way around giving love. There's no way around of looking out for people around you. There's no way out for seeking, like, for the benefit of all and the harm of none. You know, I'm not. I want to reach my goals. I want to dominate in my own field, in my own like picture dreams. I want to have my own place, but doesn't mean that I'm harming other people. Though I am giving a lot more folds than what I'm supposed to be even receiving, and that's the whole perspective that I'm living on. And the more you give, and I was talking to him too about this point. The more you give, the more points you got of like, oh my God, like you were saying, I'm like dissipating of energy. I cannot give anymore. I cannot, and that is the point. It's like the runner's high. You just focus your energy on like giving more love. You just focus it back on like, let's collect everything and just do this right now. You know, you're just focusing on giving the last specks of love toward your other like part of you, conscious human being. You know, this. When you give the, like, it's like a runner's high, but like 10 times stronger. Because when you think your soul and spirit is that limited to your physical body, and you keep pushing love, your body might quit, but your spirit takes over, and that's like a thrill. You know, you feel like a whole, like wow, it's like a rush kind of thing. You know, it's beautiful. And again, I wish for a lot of human beings to understand that the experience we're having right now is just an experience for this collected conscious God or whatever it is, the realm that we all came from. But this is not an end to anything. The fear, the worry, the people talk, the society, the conditioning, the thing that make you anxious doesn't really matter, because the end of this body is not really the end of you. You are just here to experience and do something in this realm. We all have talents and potential. We have to work on it and give good hard hours of developing that skill, and then we go from there. But different talents, you know, from different fields and different areas and different specters of life. And when people get isolated from that, then they get isolated into the matrix, the empire, which is all physical. You gotta do physical work, you gotta eat, you gotta fuck, you gotta work out, and to them that is their life. So they might be doing the same shit that we're doing, and like a lot of people are. They're working out, you know, they're meditating, they're having their good job, but they didn't reach that pinnacle of pressure where they have to like have a paradigm shift. You know what I'm talking about? And that is where the anxiousness comes from, and then where's the depression? Because what is really depression? You know, it is someone who cannot stop thinking about the same thought, someone who's not thinking good enough about themselves. Of course, there's people that are sick and need medicine. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about in general. If you've never been diagnosed with any mental disease or any problems, and then you said you started having depression, why? I mean, of course, go seek help. But also, why not try to add this kind of different perspective that we're trying to give? You know, like take your medicine. I'm not trying to stop anyone from doing anything. Just saying there is something to add that it for me, it changed my life. For me, being able to give love, I found the purpose again. I found like the reason. Like I had no passion for anything because everything I worked for was come up to like a net zero value. In fact, come up with a negative. If you think about it, yeah. And I was like, I'm not thinking right. I'm not following the right direction. I'm not following the right path because clearly I'm not happy. Ending up with people I don't really like at the end and every experience was building on that to just clarify to me that yes, you have this great experience of the physical body and you can do extreme parameters in it, and we're all gifted in some way or another in that, because this is our vehicle, but at the same time this is not you. And that took a while for me to understand that when you were saying that people want to help, they don't want to help anybody, they want to help someone who come from that perspective, who is willing to learn, who is not looking at themselves as the shit, because literally nobody knows everything. Till the day you die, it's still going to be learning. There is no reason for the ego to exist to that point. There's like, I'm better than these people, or I know these people. Maybe after you hear the words, maybe after they display their argument, you can judge, like not judge, but you can listen and see where this, in like the realm of pathway. But the point of judging, this is when you know your spirit is not there. The moment you start judging someone or something or somebody or some project or a random thing as it is good or bad, this is the moment you know, because you're not supposed to judge. This came to you, it's either supposed to teach you a lesson or just to be grateful about it. Honestly, I failed to see any other thing for something to happen to us. Either it is something to learn from, or it is a blessing, and I should be grateful for it, right? Because what else could happen to you? It's whatever you want to do, and every challenge, every experience, every difficult stuff you do is going to be on your shoulder, like trying to teach you something. Mm-hmm. So you should go. So yeah, the whole point of like being afraid to experience life as someone that is being afraid of losing their body while experiencing life. It was like, no, you didn't know that this body was made to experience this life, correctly, in harmonious, loving way,